Hello everyone. Very good morning to all.
Yeah, good morning, madam.
So now we are starting this session. Dear authors and invited guests, welcome to the technical session 3A. I am Prarthana Joshi, the moderator of this session. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation and Knowledge Chamber of Commerce and Industry, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 7th International Conference on ICT for Sustainable Development through Zoom. I hope this session was you will enjoy the knowledgeable and interactive sessions through the day. There is a special note for all the presenters presenting here. You will be given 7 to 8 minutes for your presentation and further 2 minutes for your question and answer. On 7 minutes, I will raise a gentle reminder. If you are having any query or any update, you can write it to me in the chat box. Just before we get started, I would like to introduce you all to the chair of this session, Dr. Prashant Dotre. Dr. Prashant Dotre has more than 17 years of teaching and research experience. Currently, he is working as an associate professor in the Department of Information Technology of MIT School of Engineering. His publication includes more than 25 papers in the international conference and journals. His research interest includes algorithms, privacy, and Turing machine. Welcome, sir. It is our pleasure to have you here with us.
Thank you so much.
Yes, so now we are starting our session. We are starting this session. So our first presenter is Sachin Gajjar. I would like to invite him to present her paper on survey of data processing software tools for global navigation satellite system. Dear presenter, please start your presentation.
Okay, so I'll just share my screen. Okay, so is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so good morning to all of you. I am Sachin Gajjar, and I am the associated with the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering at Institute of Technology, Nirma University at Ahmedabad. And our work was in the area of survey of data processing software tools for global navigation satellite system. So basically, this was a preliminary survey that we had done before sending out a proposal of respond project under awarded by ISRO there. So I had a team of my students, Ayushi Samriddhi, Bhavin Patel, and my GRF Mahek Vyas, who is right now working on this project. And I'll be presenting this work on the behalf of all of them, including my faculty colleague, Professor Manisha Upadhyay there. So to begin with, when we talk of the global navigation satellite system, it is a satellite navigation system which is used by different countries for global coverage. And with the help of this system, normally we get a number of applications which are basically related to providing navigations, and the kind of accuracy that we get through this satellite system, it depends upon the kind of services for which we are using the system. So the accuracy when we do the navigation would be in the meter level, or it can be up to a centimeter level positioning would be possible. So that would absolutely depend upon the type of the service that we are opting through for this satellite systems. And most of the time we use it for surveying down some land or some military applications, marine application, as well as aerial navigations. So when we talk of the satellite being used for this navigational purposes, there are different kinds of errors like tropospheric errors, ionospheric errors, certain weather conditions which are going to affect the signals which are received by the receiver from the satellite. And in order to overcome these errors, we need to have a software which just runs several set of algorithms to overcome this error. So for the different satellite systems across the globe, there are different softwares which are available. So some of these softwares are Artically, Bernice, GLab, Tech, and Gypsy, GPS, TK. So there are many of them. So if we look onto the functionalities of this software, it includes to convert down the received data from the satellite, which is in the raw form, to a specific format called as Linux format, so that it can be later on used by different algorithms in order to do certain corrections and then finally derive onto the exact locations of the receiver. So the software has to do pre-processing of the data which is received by the receiver, and then it has to apply several corrections, which are atmospheric clock, antenna clock bias corrections are to be applied. And the software tool also has to evaluate the position of the receiver by again applying different positioning modes. And finally, the software also has to analyze the received data and show it in the form of graphs and plots. So these are the major functionalities which any of the software tool which is associated with the satellite receiver, it has to do. So what we did is we took upon all of these famous softwares which were available for the different satellite systems across the globe, and we studied them and we compared them. And the reason for doing this was, as I told you, that ISRO has developed this the IRNSS, which is our regional satellite navigation system, and we wanted to apply for a project wherein we wanted to develop the similar kind of the software for our IRNSS. So to just survey down those, so the first task was to survey down all of this software. So that is exactly what we had done in this the survey, and had jotted down in the form of our publication here. So the first famous software was the Bernice that we picked up. So it is basically a commercial GNSS software which is developed by Astronomical Institute at the University of Bern, Switzerland, and it supports low Earth orbit and L1, L2, and L5 band of frequencies. And it is best suited for GPS GLONASS satellite systems. And the processing of the data with this software can be done in double difference mode or in the zero difference mode. It helps in detecting the phase errors there, and it has quite a lot of examples which we can use it in order to go through and use the software there. Another famous software is Artically. So it is an open source software developed by Tomoji Takaso of Tokyo University of Marine Science and Technology. And it again supports GNSS for real-time and post-processing the details there. It's a portable program library and several APIs are available. It also supports external communication like serial, TCP/IP, NTRIP, which normally we use for naval time applications, real-time naval applications. And it can be used for conversion of different message formats and make them available in the Linux, which is the standard file format. GLab is another software, which is again an educational multipurpose package for processing and analyzing the GNSS data. It was developed by a group of astronomy geomatics at University of Barcelona, Spain. And this is nicely developed into different modules, which includes the entire different module for processing the data coming from the satellites, analyzing the data, and it provides a nice GUI, graphical user interface. So again, different kinds of error corrections can be done using this package there. The next software that we surveyed was TECH, which stands for Transnational Editing and Quality Checking. So it's a free software developed by Nuaco organization, and it is capable of translation of binary file formats to the standard Linux format. It also provides quality checks for GPS as well as GLONASS system. We have a facility of just picking out certain, extracting some information from the Renex files, converting it into different file formats. So basically we compared all of these software tools, and we just tried to look upon the their latest versions. We downloaded them, installed them, and did a rigorous study. We also tried to identify which of the different GNSS systems it supports. So majorly we find here that GPS, GLONASS, Galileo, the famous satellite navigation systems of US, Russia, they are being nicely supported by the softwares, by all of these softwares there. And except for tech, all of them are available in the graphical user interface format as well. Like for tech, it is command user interface format. Only Bernice is commercial, rest of them all of are free. The coding which is done is in majorly C++ for all of these softwares there, and they support both pre-processing of the data coming from the satellite as well as the post-processing. The different file formats which are being supported, that also we jotted down. So Renex is a file format which is universally supported by all of this softwares there, and precise point positioning is being again supported by all of them. So then again we tried to find out the strong and the weak points of all of this. So so with that we concluded that RTK-lib is something which has got a rigorous kind of support for in all forms that we require for a typical satellite support system, which includes the precise point positioning, pre-processing of the data received from the satellite, and then just plotting it nicely onto the software. So that's how RTK-lib is something that we found it to be the best software tool for the analyzing the data coming from the GNSS systems there. So right now we are working upon developing the similar software for IRNSS, and we are taking RTK-lib as our benchmark, and we are trying to have all of the modules in our software which are based on RTK-lib. So these are our references, and that is all from our side.
Thank you for your presentation. What is the outcome of your paper? Like,
sir, yeah. So, sir, as I discussed, this is a work that we carried out initially before applying to ISRO for a Respond project. So we had to come down to the conclusion that, like, amongst all of these softwares which are used for this different GNSS systems there, which one of them is kind of the best? What are the facilities which are being provided by the software? And we also wanted to study the different modules which are available, the way the algorithms are being programmed. So we concluded that RTK-lib is something that is kind of having almost all of the facilities which are typically required in a software tool for GNSS. So we concluded that we should follow the RTK-lib, the kind of algorithms, the facilities that it gives, and that is the thing that we are doing it right now. So we have in fact downloaded, installed RTK-lib into our systems here, and we are trying to mimic it for our the IRNSS, that is the regional satellite system for India.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you so much, dear author. Now we are moving forward with our next presentation. Dear author, can you please stop sharing this thing so I can?
Yes.
Yes. Also, our next presentation is being presented by Sachin Gajjar sir. His topic is exploration of free RTOS on a RISC-V architecture. Sir, please continue.
Yeah. Okay, so is my screen visible and am I audible?
Yes, sir, clearly.
Okay, okay. So this is another piece of work which was being done by my students, Vincent, Divyesh, Parin, and we had a team of the students here along with my colleague Dr. Dhaval Shah. So in this work, we tried to explore the risk five, and we took up certain software tools comprising of the risk five and ported a famous real-time operating system called as FreeRTOS onto the RISC-V architecture and tried to see its performance. So the title of the paper is Exploration of FreeRTOS on RISC-V architecture. And all of us, we again belong to the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering at Institute of Technology, Nirma University. So this is how we have planned the discussion. So we'll go with the introduction, then a literature review that we had done in the area of porting of RTOS on RISC-V architecture. Then the entire ecosystem that we used in order to port the free RTOS on RISC-V, and the simulators that we used for doing this, and finally the results and the discussion based on that. So the RTOS typically is required for dealing with the deadlines, the resource constraints that we have in a typical embedded system. So most of the time when we have a large number of processes to be run onto the system, if we have got deadlines associated with the system, and then we have a single processor memory, so limited memory. So in that case, we need to have an RTOS in the embedded system so that the RTOS can help us to meet all of these requirements of the embedded system. So so the next thing that we came across was the RISC-V. So basically, as we know, RISC-V is an open source instruction set architecture, which is based on risk strategy. And it is kind of quite famous in the market right now because it is an open source architecture and people are exploring and having their versions of RISC-V. And gradually it is becoming steady architecture wise, and it is now well accepted in the market. So when we came across this, we found that there are a number of commercial applications which are there, which are built on RISC-V, but there is very less amount of the work done in the area of porting an operating system onto the RISC-V architecture. So there is very little documentation which is available related to porting RTOS on RISC-V architecture. So we try to take up this challenge, and then we try to gather down the exact set of procedure and the steps which are to be done in order to port a very famous FreeRTOS onto the 64-bit RISC architecture. And then we did this, and we have a detailed documentation for doing this entire process so that anybody can refer to this documentation and have a FreeRTOS being ported down onto the RISC-V architecture. Not only that, we developed certain application layer programs onto RISC-V and FreeRTOS on top of it. And then we tried to analyze the performance of FreeRTOS. How does FreeRTOS work on a RISC-V architecture? So just to begin with, initially we just surveyed certain papers which were there related to porting of any RTOS onto the RISC-V architecture. So we came across this paper where eCronus RTOS was ported on RISC-V architecture, and this was done using emulator called as Spike emulator. And eCronus was the RTOS that was being ported. And basically, after porting the RTOS, a simple application layer program, hello world program was run on that. Another paper that we came across was comparing two RTOSes, that is FreeRTOS and the ARM Scale RTX 51 on ARM Cortex M4 architecture. Again, this was not a RISC-V architecture, but the set of steps that were carried out for porting of the FreeRTOS onto the ARM Cortex M4 were useful for us. So that's how we surveyed this paper, and we also found some of the application layer programs which were useful there. So we just tried to mimic also this IPC and Mutex application layer programs which were being discussed out onto this in this work. Another paper that we came across was again not onto RISC-V and RISC-V processor. It was on PowerPC, and it had porting of micro C and RT Linux onto PowerPC architecture. So there again, the applications related to checking the performance of micro C and RT Linux for semaphores mutex was being discussed there. So this the two papers here, we just try to understand that once we have ported the RTOS, what are the different application layer programs that we can run and see the performance and do the performance analysis of the RTOS that we have ported. So as we can see that there is in fact, there was no work related to porting of free RTOS on RISC-V chain. So that's how we took up this as a challenge and tried to port free RTOS on RISC-V and run some application layer programs and see the performance of free RTOS. So this is the entire scenario. So at the top we have the user, then user is going to use a certain APIs, that is application programming interfaces, which are in turn going to call the system calls of the operating system, which would then be a kind of a call for asking for the services of the RTOS, and call the services of the hardware via the RTOS. And then at the bottom we have the RISC-V cores, the RISC-V core there. And again, the operating system is going to take care of the resource management, file management, device management, as well as memory management, and also do the process scheduling. So this is our entire ecosystem that we had used in our work. So basically we used the Spike simulator, which was basically simulating the entire the instruction set architecture of RISC-V. It has got the support of the famous RISC-V cores, that is RV32IR and RV64I, and it provides a nice interactive debug mode so that we can actually see how the RISC-V is kind of entirely operating there. We had a proxy kernel of RISC-V being used, so it was a it was just the handling the IO related system calls which were coming from the application layer. And at the bottom we had RISC-V GNU toolchain. So this was basically used in order to run all our application layer programs that we had developed, which has to at the end of the day run onto the RISC-V ISA there. For the free RTOS, when we see its entire architecture, it has got very nice support in the form of portable, an option of porting it into as much as 35 different processors. So we can have a free RTOS code, which we can cross compile it and have it ported onto as much as 35 different processors. The major advantage here with free RTOS is again that it's free. The code size is very small, so you can easily port it into different embedded system applications. And the entire architecture of it, of the free RTOS, is in the form that we have the core free RTOS kernel file at the top, then the all the header files which are there related to the APIs of the free RTOS or the system calls of the free RTOS included next. And then at the bottom we have all the processor specific files. So as we told that 35 different processor support is there. So the bottom layer which is there, it has got all processor specific files written in majorly written in assembly there. So that is the bottom architecture there. And the top of this we have the C files there, right? So that is how we can have a portability of free RTOS for as much as 35 different processors. So these are the set of the source files which are there related to free RTOS. So clearly it nicely bifurcates all of these files based upon the basic functionalities of the OS. Like for example, when we talk of all of the task schedulings, so that all of those relevant files into which the algorithms for task scheduling is being developed in free RTOS is nicely bifurcated as the set of files as task C and task .h files. So this is the entire the file systems for the free RTOS. So we had RISC-V at the bottom, then the proxy kernel, and then free RTOS there. And on the top of it, we use the different system calls of free RTOS and ran some programs which were there doing the inter-process communication, right? So For IPCs, we use the APIs of develop the application layer program, use the APIs of FreeRTOS, and then try to check whether our IPC is working there for the FreeRTOS on the top of RISC-V. Not only that, we also tried to find out the time which was required for doing this IPC calls there. We also checked the mutex operations there onto FreeRTOS, and we did it onto the spike simulator. Now again, the problem with spike simulator was that we did not have any functions which we can use it in order to find out the time spans for different operations that we performed on using FreeRTOS on top of RISC-V. So what did we do is we took up an assembly language functions which was available on in RISC-V, and then we used that. So that function basically provided us the facility of finding out the number of cycles which were required for the execution of that part of the code. So we took that assembly function, and then on the top of it we developed a C function so that we can use it directly in order to calculate the time spans which are required for running down the different different system calls for FreeRTOS. So accordingly, we found that typically the task creation process, the task creation operation on FreeRTOS running on the top of RISC-V, it takes as much as 11.4 microseconds. If we want to delete a task using FreeRTOS on top of RISC-V, it takes 0.134 microseconds. The context switching time, that is switching from one task to another, it requires 172 microseconds in FreeRTOS running on top of RISC-V. The mutex lock unlock requires 0.162 and 0.188 microseconds respectively. And once you have booted down the RISC-V ISA with FreeRTOS on top of it, it takes 108 microseconds time for booting of FreeRTOS on RISC-V. So to conclude, we have we have taken RISC-V ISA, and then we have ported down FreeRTOS on the top of it. We have run certain application programs using FreeRTOS system calls and try to see how FreeRTOS performs over RISC-V by finding out the timing requirements for task creation, deletion, context switching, mutex lock unlock, and booting time of the system there. So these are the different references that we had referred for this work, and thank you.
Thank you, Sachin sir, for your presentation. Can you go to the slide number 5?
Yes, sir. Yes.
You need to share your presentation.
Oh, sorry. Yes, sir. So this is slide number 5.
So the different kernel services that you mentioned, resource allocation, file management, device management. So have you identified those kernel services which are being a part of like VCare?
So when we have FreeRTOS, right? So it typically provides us different system calls, and the functionalities related to the system calls are available in all of the source files. So now suppose if you want to schedule a particular task, so or in fact the scheduling would be done by the operating system, but there would be functions related to that. So all of those functions are available in task.c and task.h files there. So similarly at our application level layer, if we want to let's say switch from one task to another, so in that case, or maybe like kind of perform the mutex operations, so we have got system calls related to mutex operations. So they are typically available in the form of APIs. So those we can directly use it in our program itself, and that's how we can get the facility of synchronizing the task with the help of mutex operations. So that is how we have done that.
Okay, thank you for your presentation.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, dear author, for your presentation. Now we are moving forward to our next presentation. which will be presented by Mugla Akhil Reddy to present a paper on proctoring system for remote users based on machine learning techniques.
Hello, good morning, everyone. My author isn't available today to present the paper. So as a co-author, I would like to present this paper today.
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I'm so sorry about this.
Dear author, you can do one thing. Just stop sharing this screen and you can reshare the screen if possible.
Okay. Even I'm not able to stop sharing.
Now you can try.
No, I'm not able to stop.
Ma'am, I think now you can reshare your screen because now it is not visible on the screen. So you can reshare your screen now. Oh. Okay, till then, we are moving forward to the next presentation. And I would like to welcome Preeti Vaser to present his paper on AI-based intelligent solution in legal profession. Dear author, please continue.
Yes, good morning all. I am Dr. Preeti from National Forensic Sciences University. Just let me share my screen. Is it visible? Is my
Yes,
screen
ma'am, it
visible?
is. Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
I'm Dr. Preeti. The topic of today's presentation is AI-based intelligent solution in legal profession. So actually nowadays there are various applications of AIs are available with us, and we are surrounded by all these AIs applications in various domains like manufacturing, education, transportations, and finance and health sectors, right? All these sectors are having all the kinds of application which are available in AI. But in our India, the legal industry is the only one industry which does not have that much exposure to AI application. So my focus of this presentation is to transform how this AI-based application will be helpful for the lawyers in day-to-day these legal activities, and this will by and large it will strengthen the entire legal fraternity. So in this case, I'm just would like to focus why there is a need to strengthen the legal system in India with the artificial intelligence technologies. I will also discuss the various use cases of AI in the legal technology in the legal industries with various tools and technology. With various tools and technology available in India and other country, and we'll show how where we are not having that much application, AI-based application in our India-based legal firm. So as per the TOI Times of India article, the total number of pending legal cases in India was 3.68 crores in March 2020. But however, due to the pandemic, the number of these cases has climbed by 90%. It is around 4.4 crores in 2001. So there is a requirement for court digitization, which is the first step in introducing the AI into the legal realm. This might save the lawyers in time and effort of doing legal search and allowing them to focus on the legal aspects. AI-based technologies will help out the litigators, legal researchers, and paralegal staffs. It will assist the judges in making their data-driven decisions. With this AI-based technology, the lawyer will be able to operate more efficiently and expand and deepen their areas of knowledge, and at large, they can add more value to their clients due to this AI-based technology. So in this study, I have studied so many papers. Some of the research papers that I have highlighted over here. Paper 11, the reference has been mentioned as it explains all about the AI-based tools such as legal research, due diligence, which will help in different legal activities, due diligence, predicting the Supreme Court decisions, and e-discovery. Right, all these tools have been explained in this paper. This also another paper, AI-based application in law, which is used for the AI regulation and theoretical questions that will raise with regard to the development of AI. In third one, author explores the scope of AI in Indian judicial system. For fourth one, author also talks about the application of AI in law and how this AI-based tools will helpful to the legal professional in assisting the various legal-based activity like decision-making, risk management, and other due diligence and contract reviews tasks. Right, all these papers I have explored, and I have come to know that all these AI-based applications are widely used in other countries, while in our India there are so many startups are available, but all the people, the old seniors lawyers are not able to cope up with all this technology. So there is a huge lacking for understanding of this technology and adapting all this technology for these senior lawyers. One of the there are the two most promising areas of the AIs. One of the area is the natural language processing, and the second one is the machine learning. How this natural language processing will contribute to the legal domain? This natural language processing will examine the large number of records, large number of case records, and it enables the lawyers to highlight the which cases are more important to then look into for further legal formalities. This NLP based tool will assist the lawyers to draft the different contracts and contracts reviews and drafting of all these contracts in different more than 20 languages. So this is one of the most promising area of the AI. Another is the machine learning. Here, machine learning can be used in various domains, but this machine learning technology can be used for predicting what will the outcome of particular case, what will be the judge's argument for particular case on particular argument. So we have to train our model in such a way that it should be able to predict the outcomes of the future particular case, as well as it can also predict what should be the reaction of the judge on particular argument of the lawyer. So these are the promising area. Now I just go to the various use cases of the AI in legal profession. The first one is the contract review. In case of contract review, basically AI-based solution is used for reviewing the contract. It provides the services to the legal professional. It also provides the great help to the legal teams for doing the routine task of the reviewing and highlighting the documents, so that they can concentrate their work on complex and highly valuable tasks. Another role of AI in legal, that is the law board. So these law boards are generally automated software which will give the advice to the client on behalf of the lawyers. So these boards are highly useful in speeding up the procedure of the legal work. Apart from this, the law boards are also effective in predicting the outcomes and preparing the documents. So the lawyers need not be focused on creating the documents and preparing the documents. All these law boards will do on behalf of the lawyers. And several reports suggest that researchers have introduced in their reviews that whatever the predictions have been given by these all these tools will be they are much more efficient and accurate than the lawyer that they are doing in presently. Another role of AI in the legal, it is a legal research. With the advancement of the AI in legal research, online legal tools are available for the lawyers to aid the lawyers in discovering the relevant case materials. So nowadays there are so many cases which are similar in their context. Lawyers have to manually look after all these cases and what are the predictions, what are the judgments have been given. So these law boards generally provides the deep insights of different cases have been there available. Another that is the prognostication technology. The artificial intelligence technology helps to generate the insights from the data for further investigation as well as the agreement review. So once we have get the complete idea of the entire case, this technology will enable the lawyers to investigate, proceed for the further investigations. Another major applications area of the AI in the legal industry, it is the legal analytics, and this is the specialized branch of the predictive analysis, in which lawyers can make the more data-driven decision. They can also know the probability of what is the outcome of the particular case. They can also draw the insights on the judge reactions on particular legal arguments. So this is a very much important area that lawyers have to look into the matter. Another application area of AI in the legal domain, it is a document review. As I told you, the NLP plays an important role in a legal sector. So with the use of NLP, one can manage, lawyers can manage, they can classify and categorize and the relevant document in a systematic manner. So NLP is a subdomain of AI, and it has a capability to automate the lengthy process in a very simple manner. So another application area of the AI, it is a predictive coding. So some cases are very complex, and their discovery is very crucial in that case. So predictive coding is a great help for the lawyers, which will be widely used in a transactional law space to improve the document reviewing process. Another application area of the AI in legal, that is the due diligence. In past, the due diligence process was a very time-consuming process to uncover the background information for the legal practitioner. So this AI-powered tool can assist in accelerating the process in due diligence process. The last one, that is the litigation process. Nowadays, the machine learning models are available with us, and we can lawyers can use for the predicting the outcomes of the legal cases by finding the similar patterns within the case, and they can find draw the insights from the legal cases. So these are the major role of AI in a legal profession. So I just explore all these applications. One of the application, the contract review. So for the contract review, Kira software is there, Donna, Luminance, so many softwares are available. But if you look at the origin, where the highly these softwares are being used, these are in UK country, New York, Israel, France. Same way, we have another software for the due diligence, Kira. It is widely also used in Toronto. Then Rose Intelligence is also there. It is widely used in US and other foreign country. Intellectual property, predictive analysis, Lex Machina, and for law boards we have Rose Intelligence, Do Not Pay, Robot Lawyer, Lisa. All these tools are widely available, and then they are widely used in other countries. One of the most important tool for the legal analytic, it is a Lex Machina. So it is widely used in US, and Ravel law, it is also used in US. So from this we can say that as per our research, we can say that the US, UK, Malaysia, Turkey, and China are leading country where the AI technology is used in the legal system. So now I just would like to focus on the AI-based legal startup which are available in the India. The one of the most important startup, it is provided by the Supreme Court Vedic Anuvad software. It is called as a SUVAS. So this SUVAS software is basically used to translate the legal document into the different languages, right? So they have to, because regional legal practitioners have to deal with the converting all the cases which are being written in the English language into the regional language. So this SUVAS has been one of the very good startup has been provided by the Supreme Court of India, Supreme Court Yagnik Anuvad. Apart from this, we also have Mike Legal. It is an AI-based platform in India for conducting the legal research, which is similar to the Rose Intelligence. This is the only applied in India. Another that AI-based technology have been used by the Cyril Amanchand Mangaldas. It has partnered with the Kira system, and it has become the first law firm in India to do use this AI-based technology. Another, that is the LegicQuest. It is online legal search platform for the Indian case laws. Another, that is the Legal Card, which provides a legal assistant and improve the legal services service experience for the both lawyers and the clients. So all these are listed, not limited, but some of them I just would like to highlight that Spot Draft is also AI-based contract management tool that assists the users with the contract drafting, reviewing, and management and signing. One of the most important tool, that is the Case Mine. It is a low analytic based system. Basically, it is completely it is AI based legal research, and it provides an analysis of legal documents in more detail. So apart from this, Supes is also one of the startup has been provided by the Indian legal firms. So Supreme Court portal for the assistant in the court efficiency. So with this AI-based tools, the lawyers can do their day-to-day task in very efficient and fast manner. Sport draft is also there, and legal mind and AMLIB. So these are some of the list of the AI-based legal startup in India. But if you look at the real practices of the lawyers, most of the senior lawyers are resistant to change their working style and prefer to practice in a traditional manner. So that's why they are not being able to inculcate this AI-based legal tools in day-to-day activity. So if there is such kind of awareness and program should be taken place, so we can strengthen our legal system in India. Apart from this, yes, there is also.
Ma'am, sorry for the interruption, but
yes.
We are running out of time. So please go to conclusion.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Now, can you go to the conclusion slide?
Yes, sir. So these tools will help the lawyers to improve the efficiency and efforts in the law practices, as well as they can do some of the tasks are very complex, so they have to focus this complex task manually, right? So in that case, all the automated some simple tasks and automated tasks should be done by the AI base, so then thereby we can strengthen our legal system, and we can give the faster justice to this legal system. So at the end, I just would like to conclude that all the future lawyers will be the legal knowledge engineers and legal risk and managers, system developers, design thinking experts. In future, we would like to have a legal expert. Will be having different kinds of roles.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. My first question is, there are different AI technologies that you mentioned.
Yes.
So how you adopt the technology based on the type of a case, criminal case, or depending on that?
Actually, for that we need criminal cases. Basically, these are completely analytical based tool. But in case of criminal case, there is a face detection techniques are there. For that, we have to maintain the database of the criminals, and we have to train the machine learning model on that criminal data, and we can give this input, the criminal data to this input, and machine should be able to find out, yes, this is a criminal.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, dear author. Now we are moving forward with our next presentation. The next presentation is will be presented by Lipsarani Jina. I hope I pronounce proper, to present her paper on environmental characteristics leveraging crop recommendation based on Bayesian optimization support vector machine approach. Ma'am, please continue.
Sure. Is it visible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, please continue.
Good morning, all. I'm Lipsarani Jena, a student of computer science at Veer Surendra Sai University of Technology, VSSOT Bulla, Odisha. And the topic is environmental characteristics leveraging crop recommendation based on BOSBM approach. These are the table of these are the table of content. First, introduction, then the objective of our work, and then the literature survey, what are the background studies, then what is the methodology I'm using, then the result discussion part, conclusion, and then the references. So basically, crop recommendation is a technique which deals with the issues and will help to find out the solution to improve the worth of the agricultural sector. The crop recommendation is one of the potential research topic that relies on environmental conditions such as the rainfall, temperature, humidity, the pH value to identify the suitable crop for the cultivation at different time period. And many countries in this world still facing problem to providing the sufficient food to their population, and India is among the one of the most experienced nations which is still practicing agriculture, and the land region is more than 1.6 million square kilometer for agriculture. Apart from just improving the productivity rate, it is also important to cultivate the crop based on the knowledge gathered from the crop land and the previous data. This will help the farmer to reduce the problem such as productivity rate due to the climate change or natural disaster. To improve the crop yield, it is necessary to predict the exact crops that can be cultivated for a particular time period or season. So the main objective of this work to propose a method for crop recommendation or suggestion based on soil attributes like the pH, the moisture content, rainfall, and temperature, which can be effectively used in the field of agriculture. So for our model, we will be training crop database and use the ML algorithms to give the crops to give the suitable crop for the particular soil. So this is the literature survey where in 2015 the author used the ANN approach for the crop recommendation, and the accuracy is about the 90%. And in 2016, another author used the KNN model on precision agriculture for crop recommendation system, and the accuracy is 85%. So these are the here different models or different algorithms are used for the crop recommendation system, and these are the results in terms of accuracy. So machine learning is a study of algorithms, computer algorithms that can improve automatically through the experience of the use of data or the past data. So these algorithms use training data, which is known as a sample data, to make the prediction or decision without being programmed to do so. So here I am using the BOSBM model. So what is support vector machine? So it is a supervised learning algorithm used for both the classification and a regression model, and it is mostly it is used for the classification problem. So the SBMs are applied in binary classification by dividing the data points to either 0 or 1. So for multi-class classification, the problems is broken down into the multiple binary classes. So here another technique is also used, this 5-fold cross validation. So here it is commonly used or commonly applied in machine learning algorithm to compare and select a model for a given predictive modeling problem. So this is used to estimate the skill of the model on new data. So here Gaussian process is also used. So it is a regression. It is also a classification. It is used for also classification and a regression problem. So basically it uses a black box function. Fx where x is the vector of design parameters, and the objective of this Gaussian process model is to have the capability to properly guess the value of fx in a specific location based on the available data. And the Bayesian optimization algorithm provides the practical solution for the optimization of computation intensive objective function, and the idea behind this algorithm is to find the optimal solution or to provide the optimal solution within a few evaluations. And it also uses a surrogate function. So basically, surrogate function is an approximation of an objective function to think carefully about where to evaluate the next objective function in the solution space. And also the view algorithm works iteratively. So this research contains some data set, and it consists of about 22 major crops, and each crop is defined with 4 major parameters such as temperature, humidity, soil pH value, and the rainfall. The crops are the 22 major crops are the cotton, mung bean, banana, black gram, apple, muthven, coconut, chickpea, muskmelon, watermelon, pomegranate, pigeon pea, grapes, rice, jute, mango, azuki bean, orange, coffee, papaya, maize, lentil, and the kidney bean. The overall data set is identified to be 2,200 data samples, and the data samples are considered as 80-20 split, where 80% data is used for the used to train the model, and the remaining 20% is used for the testing. So the purpose of this algorithm aims at performing the maturity level classification and the crop recommendation based on the soil attribute in different seasons. So this model consists of 4 major parameters that are the temperature, the pH, humidity, and the rainfall. So these algorithms basically works iteratively. So here it contains 2 phases. One is the learning phase, another one is the optimization phase. In learning phase, at each iteration, the available data update to the surrogate model, and then the algorithm use another function to analyze the Gaussian process model to best case the next potential point to evaluate the objective function. And next, the algorithm returns and update the Gaussian process model with the new evaluation. So this is the proposed, this is the basically the BOSBM model. So here, these are the data set. So the Gaussian process here will initialize the GP model, which is at the learning phase. Then it will provide the data to the optimization phase by guessing the model, and then it will again update the data set, and then it contains the updated data. And similarly, this methodology, or this is the proposed flowchart, where here will load the different environmental feature like the rainfall, temperature, pH value. So this is the random population, which is 2,200. So here this is how the BOSBM model work. So then it will recommend the crop based on the soil features. So this is the comparison of the proposed model with the other models, but in terms of accuracy only, where the accuracy of this model is 98.8%. And this is the confusion matrix. These are the misclassifications, and these are the true classification. This is the misclassification, and the conclusion is the objective of our work was to develop an automated approach which could be applied in the field of agriculture for crop recommendation, and it was implemented on 22 different major crops. And the aim of this proposed model is to make accurate prediction with reduced runtime complexity, and the overall accuracy of this work is 98.8%. And these are the references.
Thank you for your presentation. My question is, how many features you have collected?
In the data set, sir?
Yeah.
I think, sir, 106 features.
106
Yes.
out of?
Sir?
Out of how many features you considered features for your project?
Sir, it's 78 features.
78. So on what basis you selected and rejected those features?
Sir, the features we have selected will help us to get the accuracy. It helps to find more accuracy with that feature. We are getting more accuracy with that feature.
Okay, and Have you prepared your own data set?
No, sir. I have collected the dataset from the Kaggle and we modified it.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's move further to the next presentation. The paper title is Analysis of Student Behavioral Patterns by Machine Learning. Okay, I think ma'am is not here. The presenter is not here. So we are moving forward to next presentation. Will be presented by Vaibhavi Patel. Her paper title is An Empirical Study of Multi-Class Imbalance Learning Algorithms.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Is this visible? Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, ma'am, it is
And
perfect.
okay, and the screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So I'm starting. Good morning, all. My name is Vaibhavi Patel, and basically I'm from Gujarat and working in Navratna University as an assistant professor in CSE department. And I'm also pursuing my PhD from Maharaja Sayajirao University. So today, I'm going to present my paper which titled as an empirical study of multi-class imbalance learning algorithm. So it's now a review paper. Uh, this is the outline of my today's presentation. So first of all, I want to give some brief of the problem. So let's say, suppose I have one classification problem where there are only two class, yes and no, and suppose there are total 1,000 samples from which let's say 900 samples belong to yes class, and remaining 100 samples, only 100 samples are from the no class. Then this is completely imbalanced data set because number of yes class samples are more than the no class. So here you can see ratio is 9 to the 1. So now problem is what if we use this imbalanced data set, then machine learning algorithms will get biased toward the maximum class, and that's called majority class. And if a model give prediction output, let's say yes for all the test data in the worst case, still you will get accuracy and that will be greater than 90%. So though accuracy is too high, but the model is not valid, right? Because it tends toward the majority class. And essentially, most of the time we are more interested in minority class. So while till date, most of the work done that focused on the binary classification in imbalance domain. So this is contemporary, we can say challenging in multi-class domain as it has all the issue of binary class, and additionally, it introduced novel difficulty like such as data difficulty, complex relationship, etc. So yeah, there are number of real-time applications where these kind of problem occur, including like so here all the domain mentioned where this problem can occur, like computer vision, where images are processed and those images may not do not contain the object of interest, right? And then it can be fraud such as credit card fraud, check fraud, and so on. Even in medical science, also usually patients with a disease are reasonably, we can say, rare as compared to the normal or healthy population. For example, cancer prediction, diabetes prediction, right? Even in text classification that also enable various applications such as spam filtering, sentiment analysis, and so on. This problem can also occur in direct marketing, like for where imbalance can occur in customers' behavior. and responsive. And most of the cases, the problem of minority class is usually more focused class. So all the major affected area, just a minute. Yeah. So all the major affected area are discussed in this paper. And if we talk about the approaches to handle, then there are number of techniques exist. Broadly, we can classify that in a four category. First is data level approaches, where which resize the training data set to balance all the classes, and it can be viewed as a pre-processing step. Is this that contain feature selections or sampling techniques? Sampling techniques like undersampling, oversampling, where in undersampling we can say we can reduce the number of samples from the majority class, and in oversampling, as it implies, we can increase the number of samples from the minority class in order to balance the data set, right? But they have some pros and cons, and all those discussed in this paper. Another is algorithm level approach, where we can concentrate on modifying the existing algorithm. Like we can, for example, we can change the class weight, or we can assign more weight to minority class. So they naturally consider the presence of the imbalance, right? In cost sensitive also, it tries to minimize the total cost of misclassification by adjusting the cost of misclassification of the minority class. And ensemble technique also, that is very popular, and that improves the accuracy by ensembling two or more algorithms, and they predict based on voting and all. And normally, if you're talking about multi-class, then it can be solved using different techniques like one versus one and one versus race and all, where we'll get different sub-binary class, and then we can apply this technique on those. So the detailed study of these methods and how authors have implemented, what are the pros and cons, and what are the accuracy that got, that everything is explained in this my review paper. And yeah, if we are talking about evaluation parameter, then for any model, evaluation is very important, right? So for imbalanced data set, we need Q insensitive matrices, we can say, where because accuracy is not good choice of evaluation when data set is Q, right? So for Q data, recall and precision, a better evaluation matrices, as they give. I found that in different research research that these two are very good, as they give better sense of how well your classifier is doing. So the problem is with these two different matrices, precision and recall, it is very difficult now to choose better algorithm, right? So in contrast, if there is a single real number evaluation matrices as F1, F4, then it can help to quickly decide that whether a change to a model is needed or not, right? So and so F1 score is very good parameter, we can say, in case of imbalance. And I also found that area under precision recall curve, that is also widely used by machine learning community when data distribution is skewed. Right. So here I can say that despite exceptional work in this area, there are still many limitations in existing strategy and issues are to be addressed properly. So there is we can say still a scope of extending the previous work for better result. Right. And yeah, binary imbalance classification techniques are relatively mature nowadays. So yet multi-class imbalance classification techniques are still an open problem. So finally, it has been suggested in different papers that hybrid approach, like applying two or more techniques, that gives better solution for the imbalance problem. Right. So yeah, with this, I'm concluding here. Thank you. And these are the references.
Thank you. Thank you
Yes.
for presentation. What is confusion matrix?
Sorry?
What is confusion matrix?
Confusion matrix, where we are showing that what are the true positive, true false, and true negative, and true false negative. So basically from that only we can get the what we can say, recall and precision. We can find the value of recall and precision. Yeah.
What is multivariant data analysis?
Multivariant data analysis, where we have multiple parameters, right? For example, if you are considering 2 parameters, then that will be minor, we can say, like multiple, where we can have multiple parameters to consider. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, dear author.
Welcome.
Let's move further to the next presentation. The next presentation will be presented by Parameshwari R. Her paper title is on cordial totally magic labeling for flowered graphs.
Shall I share my screen?
Yes, please.
Is my screen is visible?
Ma'am, please go ahead.
Thank you. So, good morning to everyone. My name is Jayalakshmi and I'm a student from Satyabhama Institute of Science and Technology. Our paper title is Total Magic Body Labeling of Photographs under the guidance of Dr. R. Parameshwari, Assistant Professor, Satyabhama Institute of Science and Technology. This is the outline of this presentation. This is the abstract of this presentation, and I will explain total magic body labeling in upcoming slides. So, graph labeling is an emerging area in the field of graph theory. So, this was first introduced by the Professor Rosa in the year 1967. After this introduction, many labelings have been introduced, such as graceful labeling, harmonious labeling, prime body labeling, total magic body labeling, and etc. So here we have found the total magic body labeling for 4 graphs, namely octopus graph, Vanessa graph, lily graph, and lotus graph. So this is the literature survey of this research group. So a graph labeling is nothing but assigning integer values to the vertices and edges or both under certain conditions. So in this paper, the graphs which are discussed are finite and undirected graph. So a graph is said to have a total magic body labeling if there exists a mapping f from B union E to 0, 1 such that f of A plus f of B plus f of AB is congruent to same module for all edges, and it needs to satisfy the condition modulus of f0 minus f1 less than or equal to 1. So where f0 is the number of vertices and edges labeled as 0, and f1 is the number of vertices and edges labeled as 1. So let's just see the definition of octopus graph. So octopus graph is denoted by ON, where n is greater than or equal to 2, and this graph is constructed by a fan graph and a star graph sharing a common vertex. Here the number of vertices are 2n plus 1 and 3n minus 1 edges. And Vanessa graph is constructed by 2 fan graphs and a star graph joining a common vertex at the center. This graph has 3n plus 1 vertices and 5n minus 2 edges. And lily graph is denoted by IN, and this graph is obtained by joining 2 star graphs and 2 path graphs, and it has 4n minus 1 vertices and 4n minus 2 edges. And lastly, lotus graph is denoted by LON, and this graph is obtained from a shell graph by adding a vertex in between each pair of adjacent vertices on the cycle and adding an edge in apex and 2 or more points. These graphs are already defined, and various authors have found different kind of labelings, such as prime coded labeling and harmonious labeling, square-sum labeling. And now we have found total magic body labeling for these graphs. So this is the theorem for total magic order labeling of octopus graph. So as I said earlier, it has 2n plus 1 vertices and 3n minus 1 edges. So I would like to explain this through a diagrammatic representation. This is the octopus graph when n is equal to 9. So here we have assigned the values 0 and 1 as per the labeling which we have defined, and we are if we check whether it satisfies the condition, it does. Like modulus of f0 minus f1 is less than or equal to 1 here. Here all the vertices and edges are labeled as per the labeling, and when we calculate it, it is equal to 0. Sorry, 1. So next we move on to the total magic order labeling of Vanessa graph. So here it has 3n plus 1 vertices and 5n minus 2 edges, and the mapping is defined as follows. Here the vertex set is defined into 4 and the edge set is defined into 5. And so here we are discussing two cases, one is odd and one is even. So for odd cases, f0 is calculated into 4n and f1 is 4n minus 1. Hence, the difference is 1 and it satisfies the condition. Then n is even, f0 is 4n minus 1 and f1 is 4n, and the difference between these two is 1. So in both cases, it is satisfying the condition. Hence, Vanessa graph admits total magic order labeling. This is the TMC labeling of Vanessa graph when n is equal to 8. And next is Lilly graph. So here the vertex set is defined into 4 and the edge set is defined into 5. And this is the mapping. And here f0 is a f0 is calculated as follows, and we are getting 4n minus 1. After calculating f1, we are getting 4n minus 2. The difference between these two is 1. Hence, it satisfies the condition. Hence, Lilly graph admits total magic order labeling. This is a diagram of Lilly graph when n is equal to 6. And lastly, let us see the total magic order labeling of this graph. So this graph is denoted by L2n, and here the vertex set is defined into 4, and the edge set is divided into 4, and f0 is calculated as follows and f1 is calculated as follows, and the difference between these two is 0, and here it satisfies the condition. Hence, Lotus graph also admits total magic order. This is the graph of the Lotus graph when n is equal to 25. So I conclude that we have this labeling can be extended in for various other graphs and examined in future. These are the references.
Can you give the application of this labeling, graph labeling?
These graphs are used in these graphs are in many applications such as crystallography, X-ray, and circuit diagrams.
Okay, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, dear author. Now the next presentation will be presented by Vikesh Kumar. His paper title is Missing Value Imputation Using Weighted KNN and Genetic Algorithms.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes, good morning, sir. Please continue with your presentation.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Hello, ma'am. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. My name is Vikesh Kumar. I belong to Uttar Pradesh. I am a MTech student, and I am going to present my paper topic, that is missing value imputation using weighted KNN and genetic algorithm. So here is the contents of this presentation. First, we will see the region, properties, and implication of missing value as an introduction part. And then we will see the missing value pattern, and then we will see the missingness mechanism. And then we will see the conventional methods to improve missing value, and then we will see performance measuring methods of prediction. And then we will see the proposed technique and results and discussion. And at the last, we will see the conclusion of this presentation. So here is the introduction of this presentation. So first of all, we should know the why missing value occurs. So there is some reason due to the missing values occur. First, that survey non-response. Suppose that if we are going to do a survey and people do not give the correct information, then there is a possibility to come the missing value in the data set. And if there is a missing dependent variable, then also occur the missing value. And if there is some dropouts occur, suppose that we are going to do analysis the data set, and some points, some features of them has dropout, then it is possible to the missing value occur. And there is another reason, that is non-reporting or delay reporting, and other is non-compliance, and another is a measurement error. Suppose that if we are using apparatus and in the apparatus there is some problem, then it might be a problem that missing value occur. And here we will see the implication of missing data. So missing data produces unbalanced data set, and it loss of information and reduced efficiency. And it extent of information loss depends on the amount of missingness. If the missingness percentage of data will be high, then our results will be not good. And it also depends on the missing pattern of the missing values. And also depends on the association between the missing and observed data, and parameters of interest, and which type of analysis we use to include the missing values. So care is needed to avoid biased inferences and inferences that target a reference population other than the intended. So here is the missing values pattern. So here we can see that there are three figures. In first figure A, that we can see that there is more missing values, like in 2 or 3 columns there are missing values, so it is called multiple missing values. And in figure B, there is only one column have missing value, so this is the single missing value. And in figure C, we can see that there is a random missing value, so we can also them the arbitrary missing values. So here is the missingness mechanism. So basically 3 types of missingness mechanism. First one is missing completely at random, also known as MCAR. So in this, basically the distribution of missing value would not rely on either the complete data or the missing values, and it usually does not found in non-artificial data set. And the second one is missing at random, also known as MAR. And in this, basically the distribution of record having a missing value for a particular attributes relies on the available data and does not depend on the missing values. And third one is that missing not at random, also known as MNAR. And in this, basically the rarely used in application where the distribution relies on the missing data. And this distinction important because validity of an analysis depends on the missing data mechanism. So here is there some conventional techniques which is used to improve the missing values. Like first we can see the list-wise deletion. So basically the problem in this list-wise deletion is that it excessively biased with the small data set, and it not utilize the all variable information. And second one is a pair-wise deletion. So their problem is that it confined the information is obtained, and it difficult to calculate the degree of freedom. And another is that is last observation carried forward, and random assignment, and linear regression. And the limitation of these techniques are given in the table. As we can see that the linear regression technique, it model generates better imputation for linear data, and it depends upon the linear relationship. And it works for the numerical type of data set, and its cost is medium. So here is some our other techniques which is used to improve the missing value, like fuzzy semen. So basically their drawback is also in fuzzy semen, like this imputation technique provide accurate information prediction for exceptional and irrelevant data. And secondary problem is that the standard fuzzy Siemens estimation implies continuous and predefined cluster for every data set, which cannot be calculated with sufficient sensitivity. And other technique is that fuzzy k-means. So in fuzzy k-means, the drawback is that fuzzy k-means handle only linear data. And other technique is that k-means, in which the problem of this technique is that this technique cannot properly handle clustering task with incomplete features, and also is support vector machine, also known as SVM. So in support vector machine, the problem is that it is not suitable for the extensive data in terms of time complexity. So here is the diagram, basic diagram of a genetic algorithm. So here is the general view of genetic algorithm. Like we take the new generation and evaluation of each individual is done, and then we selection is done, and then reproduction and mutation and new generation. So this cycle is continue. And if we imply in this the algorithm, then first we take the initial population and then calculate the fitness value, and then we select the function which has the highest fitness value, and then we perform the crossover, and then we perform the mutation, and then we use the stepping criteria. So if it follow the stepping criteria and we get the optimal solution, then here this is stop, and if there is an optimal solution not obtained, then we repeat this cycle. So here is the weighted K-NN genetic algorithm. So the process of creating these models has basically in two main steps. The first one is utilize weighted K-NN to extract K instances nearest to incomplete instances. And in second step, basically it uses the genetic algorithm imputation to build prediction model using the retrieved K instances. And the use of weighted K-NN gives more importance to the instances that are close to the incomplete ones. And the genetic algorithm technique is used to generate imputation model due to its successful application for the classification with incomplete data. So here is the methodology. So most of the current techniques make use of the whole data set for making imputation of the missing value, causing the technique to be a higher complexity, consider irrelevant records into consideration of imputation. So to address this issue, a new method is required for imputing local similarity, which calculate the missing data using weighted K-NN genetic programming algorithm approaches. So this is basically missing data is of MAR type, which means the missing data deducible from the other available data in some complicated way. And weighted imputation remove the problem of considering irrelevant instances of imputation. And ordering policy makes it possible to consider the information available in the incomplete instances. So here is the black diagram of imputed missing value. So first we will see the training phase. We take the incomplete training data and perform the weighted K-NN genetic programming algorithm, training algorithm, and then imputed training data is done. And then we apply it on the imputed model, and in testing phase we take the incomplete test data and perform the weighted K-NN genetic programming algorithm test, and then imputed testing data is done. So here is the data set which I used in this paper. There is 7 data set which is taken from the UCI repository in machine learning. First one is Boston housing, and their instances and features are also given in the table. We can see that, like first one is Boston housing, second one is hydrodynamics, and third data set is forest fires, and fourth one concrete compressive strength, and fifth one is energy efficiency, and sixth one is weather regime, and seventh clean NM data set which is shown in this table. So here is the performance comparison of this all available data set. So here is the relative square error, also known as RSE. RSE is used to comparison for the performance. So there are basically different techniques which is used for the performance, relative square error performance. And here we can see the like the Bayesian regression, decision tree, genetic programming imputation, and random forest support vector regression, and last one is weighted K-NN genetic programming is used. So here we can see that the proposed technique has the low relative square error as compared to other techniques, as we can see in the different figure of the different data set, like Boston housing data set, Yacht hydrodynamic data set, and forest fire data set, and concrete compressive data set. So if we take the different different missing type of missing data, like if we take the 10% missing data, 30% missing data, and 50% missing data. So if there is 10% missing data, then all accuracy of other techniques are approximately same. But we increase the missing percentage of the missing data, then their changes in graph, we can see that the proposed technique has a lower relative square error as compared to other techniques. And here is the conclusion and future work of this presentation. So the cause, implication, and prevention technique for the occurrence of missingness have been overviewed, and the importance of missing value imputation has been discussed. So it has been observed that one approach may be preferred over the other on a specific application dataset. And the issue regarding the utilization of conventional approach have been discussed, and they have some problem. And problem related to the missing imputation using a weighted kernel have been reviewed, and the importance of order imputation has been discussed. So the imputation method utilizing weighted kernel genetic programming principle has been applied to the real application dataset, and exact imputation results can be achieved by the selection of correct parameters and operational framework. So here is the references which I used in this presentation, and thank you. Hello.
Yeah, go to the proposed method.
Yes, sir. Weighted kernel genetic programming algorithm.
Yeah, go to that slide.
Yes, sir.
So in a training phase, how much data is considered and how much testing data considered?
Yes, sir. 80 to 20% is considered in training. 80% training phase and 20% testing phase.
Okay. Have you tried RNN for your proposed method?
No, sir. I don't have tried RNN.
Okay.
You mean recurrent neural networks? Sir? Yes, I'm tried.
Yeah. Yes.
No.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now we are having one presenter who was unable to present his presentation. So I would like to call him to continue his presentation. His paper title is Proctoring System for Remote Users Based on Machine Learning Techniques.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Can I leave the meeting, or we are required to stay here?
As I have said that everyone, if possible, then stay connected until the closing remarks. So as we have to take one good picture after ending this meeting. So if possible, then please stay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, thank you.
Yes. So dear author, is it possible for you to continue with the presentation?
Yes, yes. Thank you for giving me other opportunity. I apologize for the previous technical glitches. Uh, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Uh, my project paper presentation is proctoring system for remote users based on machine learning techniques. So basically what a proctoring system means is it's a virtual assistant type. Since the pandemic has came into existence, no individual or no invigilator, it is not possible for everyone to go to the remote places during the examinations and monitor the students individually. So what we have decided is made to bring a new software system that can monitor all the students while taking their examinations. We have already many existing proctor softwares as well, but we have taken few limitations of the existing proctors, and we find a solution in our proposed system. In this proctoring system, we used a Python OpenCV library to detect the movements in the user while taking their examination. So previous existing systems are, all the proctoring systems are not free, and that means the third party users, they have to provide the software to the institutions or organizations for the exam, and then they have to register the students manually, and then they have to start their examination. So because of this, not all organizations are affordable for that software. Even for the small exams also, they can't take this expensive proctoring system softwares. And the existing systems also, one more limitation, that while taking the exam, if student move from one place to other, or if there is any suspicious activity going on their side, that system will not terminate the exam completely. It just warn the users. So we have taken this as a primary limitation from the existing system, and we have solved this in our proposed system. So in our proposed system, what it does is, whenever a student log into the system or examination, automatically the webcam connected to the system or the laptop camera will be switched on. Right from the switching on the camera, the system will detect the movements in the user. How it will detect is based on the counters. In Python, we have a method called find counters. So using that method, it will detect the counters. Counters are nothing but a border or a green boundary line that will populate when the user move from one place to other. So we can even set the counter distance as well. For example, it is common for the students to just slightly nod their head or move their hand, but it is not correct one for the user to get up from their place and go somewhere and again come and sit in the back to that same place. So in that cases, it will detect a counter. So that measures, that distance measures can be specified in our proposed system. And also, after detecting the counters, for each counter, that means for each movement, it will count the movement. For example, if user moved one time, so the counter will be one, and whenever the user moves, it will warn the students or who are taking the exam with a buzzer sound. So if this counter or the movements exceed the specified range, for example, in our system, while we were working in the with this system, we used for three maximum counters. That means only three movements. So after the three moments, the user should be automatically terminate the exam. User won't be able to write the exam. So components are, we have used Windows 10 system and editors of Visual Studio Code and Python. And these are the hardware requirements. And these are output screen for the user interaction and better web interface. We have used a Tkinter, where students will be logging into their exam using username and password. Once the user on successful login or successful validation, it will give the username and password into our database like this. After that, automatically the system will be on. Now if a user move from one place to other, so these are green borders are called as counters. So once the user move from one place to other, it will detect a counter. So here three counters are detected. So after this counters detected, automatically the exam will be terminated. So this is one more example of the counter detection. And advantages are, this is our integrated application. That means in all the existing applications, we can integrate it very easily. And this is very secure, and it doesn't require much hardware requirements and much software libraries as well. And this is compatible on all the devices. Users can take their exam on mobiles and on systems or desktops. And this is very easily accessible to everyone. Every institution can easily use this software, because the coding which we have used in this software is very simple, and it is just a 100 lines of code. And this is easily for the remote examinations, because not all uh, humans can go and monitor the students individually whether taking their exam correctly or not. And this is affordable by everyone. And disadvantages are it requires high processor to implement. To use this software, it is very easy, but while implementing, we have faced a few issues like camera won't be responding much faster than we expected. So we have tried this on different devices to know what exactly the problem is. On trying that device, we came to know that it requires high processor with high configurations, and we cannot recognize multiple users in one frame. For example, in a single window, there are two users, so it won't detect the multiple users. But if any movement in any of the user, it will count that user as one movement. So this proctoring system is affordable and easily available to everyone, which will monitor the students very strictly and provide a very better results. Thank you. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible. Hello.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, dear author, actually, our session chair is not available right now. So we
Okay.
are going to conclusion.
Okay, fine.
Okay. I sincerely thank our all authors for their excellent presentation and great contribution to this session, and all the participants for being part of this internal conference. I hope this session was informative enough. On behalf of the whole team, thank you so much for your support to this version of the conference, even in the previous sixth version of the conference, and we will be happy to have you in the eighth version in 2023. All the participants would be getting their digital certificates through email within 2 working days. Papers have already been submitted to the Springer and publication will be live within 5 to 6 months. So kindly cooperate with the team ICT4SD 2022. And I would also like to thank our session chair, Dr. Prashant Dhotre, for chairing this session. And thank you so much, all the participants, for being part of this conference. And I request all of you to please turn on their camera for a quick snapshot and good memory of this session. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.